Good afternoon, people of the interweb. Welcome to some more stories of petty revenge. Let's get rolling. This next little piece of petty revenge is called Offered My Help and Was Told It Wasn't Worth It. Cue the petty revenge. I work as a psych nurse in long-term care home for seniors. I love my job and most of the people I work with. I predominantly work night shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. We have a huge facility, and unfortunately, with healthcare tanking, so is our staff ratio. When I work nights, I am the charge nurse of the facility. There's myself, one LPN, and 6 care aides for roughly 150 seniors. The facility is split into 3 wings with 2 care aides per unit. Myself and the LPN float between all 3 to offer our help. We often work alongside the care aides at night and step into the position if there are any absences. Being a nurse does not excuse you from personal care or helping out in general, and we live by that philosophy daily. We have one care aide who I'll refer to as C. C has a bad attitude that affects those around them. Each morning, C shows up at 6:30 a.m. for a 7 a.m. start with their Starbucks in hand and a skull plastered across their face. For those 30 minutes, C will sit there and complain to us about how terribly we handled the night, what we miss, which is generally nothing, and how they're going to complain. Meanwhile, we are ran off our feet until the end of our shift, while C sits there and sips their coffee. No, they're not obligated to work yet, but do something else with your time, C. One particular morning, as I was giving a report to the next nurse, C rudely interrupts us to let us know that they are down one care aide on their specified unit. We unfortunately had no bids on the open shift, meaning no one was coming in. Before we can answer, they start to walk away in a huff. I looked at the other nurse and said, why don't I just stay an extra couple hours at the end of my shift and work care aide duties to help out? I walk out to the group morning meeting and let them know the plan. Before I can even return to the nurse to finish report, C comes up behind me and says, you're only going to stay 2 hours? That's not even worth it. You might as well just go home. Stunned, I said nothing and returned to the nurse. I explained what happened to the nurse and had finally had enough of C's crap attitude. I grabbed my things and walked back to the group of care aides and said, I guess I'll head out. C told me it wasn't even worth my time since I was only staying 2 hours and just told me to go home. The room was dead silent and all eyes on C, whose face couldn't have been redder. Another care aide who works a different unit than C spoke up and said, OP, we are short one care aide today too, and would really appreciate it if you stayed. So I happily obliged. I never planned on leaving, I just wanted to prove a point. I gave C my best crap-eaten grin while their unit stayed short and I helped out elsewhere. C still comes in early with their Starbucks and unhappy attitude, but they don't converse with us anymore, and we no longer hear about how terrible we are as a group on nights. I overheard from a care aide that the day C did that, they made them the sole bedpan cleaner. Touché. Our next story is entitled, You Mildly Inconvenience My Laundry Schedule? I'll mildly inconvenience yours. I was doing laundry in my dorm building. I had 2 loads in the washers and I went down to switch them to the dryers. I opened both of my washers and luckily there were 2 empty dryers left. The rest were full because people leave their clothes in there for ages. I opened both dryers. I put 1 load of laundry in one dryer, shut the door, and started it. I began to gather my other load of laundry, and just as I was about to carry it over to the dryer, a guy walked in. He took 1 single jacket out of a washer and cut in front of me to toss it into the one dryer I had opened and was walking towards to put my laundry in. I stood there for a second with my laundry in my arms, expecting him to notice me and be like, oh, my bad, were you using that one? Simple dorm laundry etiquette in my experience. But he just walked out. So after stopping my previous dryer and rearranging my clothing and taking some out to air dry so both loads would fit in one dryer, I went over to his dryer and pressed stop before leaving. Now when he goes down to get his one jacket in 40 minutes, it'll be wet. Fuck you, dude. Too long didn't read. A guy took the last dryer that I was about to use. I turned it off. Yes, this is tiny and petty. Down in the comments section, Glue City says exactly what I was thinking. It's hilarious how many people lack the foresight to act politely in a room in which you plan to leave strangers alone with a good number of your most useful possessions. Our final story of Petty Revenge is entitled Petty Challenge Accepted. Circa 1996, my first vehicle was a 1986 Toyota 4x2 pickup with massive mileage and several layers of paint. One morning on my way to school, I stopped by a 7-Eleven I frequented to get some junk food for lunch. As I exited the store, a brand new Cadillac sedan pulled up in the spot next to my driver's side and sloppily parked partially in my space, not leaving me enough room to get in my truck. As he gets out, I say, "Hey man, I can't get in my car now." He replies, "Just get in the passenger side." I told him, "I can't, the lock is broken from the outside." He looks at me with an absolute asshole grin and tells me in the most condescending tone, "I guess you'll have to wait. I won't be long." Petty challenge accepted. I unlocked my truck and squeezed myself into the vehicle, pushing and scraping the door of his brand new car with all the force I could muster, and then continued on to school. The next time I went to that 7-Eleven, the clerk told me about how bad the guy freaked out. Notepad Slut in the comments says, he was asking for that revenge. Never mess with an old pickup. Seriously, folks, if you're going to taunt somebody who's got an old beat-up car and be like, whatever, they don't care if it gets damaged. Your brand new car, you probably care a lot about. Anyway, something to think about, folks. Another commenter, SmashHawk5, writes, "Twice I've been sitting in my car, once in a rental and once in my average Honda, and someone parks next to me and opens their door, forcefully hitting my car. What is wrong with people?" I gotta tell you, some of the only dents that I have on any of my vehicles are because I park my car, and I usually try to park away from people. But there's always inevitably some jackass who has to park directly next to me. And I walk out, and, I got a ding in my door. It's like, and I've got a couple of scrapes on the bumper, too, from people backing out and not, having any idea of, spatial distance or anything. Like, they just have no freaking idea, no depth perception or something. But they're backing out, and they, crank the wheel, and their bumper scrapes on mine because they didn't have enough clearance. Anyway, folks, that kind of stuff, parking lot nonsense and whatnot, that just makes me angry. Now I'm going to have an angry day. Hope you guys have a better day. Take care. See you next time.